Hey there, Patriots. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you with another one. I'm doing a reaction tonight on a song by Dax called The Abyss. It was recommended to me by one of my new subscribers today by the name of Antoine Herbert, 68, I believe. Let me just make sure of that. Make sure I got his name correct. Sorry, is Antoine Herbert, 48. Everybody knows how much I like Dax, so I'm gonna do a reaction. I never heard it before, even though I know I'm always saying that I like Dax, but I mean, he's got so much music, and I'm always listening to different types of music, you know, when I get a chance. So it's hard to keep up with every single song. I mean, I'm always amazed how much music these guys put out. But before I continue, I just want to thank all my subscribers and all my new subscribers, of course, here on YouTube and on Rumble. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, join the channel. It's a movement. If you want to help support the channel, there's a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. And hopefully soon, in the next day or two, there's still a couple of bugs in the system right now. I'm trying to get the merch store up and going, so I can pump out these shirts to start, and I'm pretty excited about that. So pay attention for that. So without further ado, let's get into this. This is The Abyss by Dax. Let's go.
Everything I did, I always gave it my best. I don't know if anyone relates, but the feeling that I get is like a truck sitting on my chest. Wondering how much do I got left? My last call, my last step. I'm not gonna wait just to see what's next. I go hard cause today could be my last breath. We do life and we can't relive it. We only get one chance. If you blink then you might just miss it. Many people come and go, they all just visit. Don't ever expect nothing different. Just listen as I paint this image that you'll all revisit. Yeah, my glass half empty, but I still might sip it. I was traumatized. What would you have said when you was looking in my mama's eyes? Nothing. Yeah, I might have said I was okay, but I probably lied. So this pain is how I harmonize. Make an impact, that's what I personify. Yes, I'm making music that you cannot just define by the numbers on my Spotify. All of this.
Wow, yeah, that was that's pretty deep in that first minute. Not getting what he's saying about, you know, what would you say if looking into his mother's eyes? I'm assuming something went down, and maybe something that he's going through that, you know, I mean, obviously when parents have children that go through a lot, you know, it's hard for them to look at their children with that sadness because they want so much from them. You know, they want them to achieve. So if I'm on the right track, somebody leave me a comment. This part I definitely like also what he says about how people define themselves or others by how many likes and views and stuff they got, especially in this day and age of social media. You know, everybody's trying to make a name through social media, you know, regardless of the consequences. That is getting to the point that a lot of it's getting ridiculous. What a lot of these content creators are doing, the way they're treating people. I've seen some stuff that is just like, I can't believe people are actually watching this thinking it's funny, you know, or, you know, thinking that their music is like really, really that good. And when you listen to some of the lyrics, it's like, man, it makes no sense, and it is nothing positive, you know. Unlike, you know, Dax's music and other singers like Tom McDonald, Rosa Alexander, stuff like that, and there's many more. But let's continue.
Pain, I just wanna be happy. Mom almost died the same day that she had me. Driving to the hospital, she swerved and crashed badly. Doctor said I was a miracle while looking at my daddy. I was 0 when I first dodged death. I was 6 when the devil told me watch my step.
Well, check that out. I could definitely relate to what he's saying right here. Not saying that my mom was in a car accident, but I could only imagine all that going on, because when I was younger, I believe I was like 4 years old, I ended up in a hospital where I had to be incubated, the story goes, for well over a month. It was that bad, something that happened at home. So, and it was always like something weird after that in my life, you know, just always something different. I'm not going to get into all the details, but when he says when I was 6 the devil told me to watch my step, couldn't sleep. I was scared to go inside my bed. It was weird because one of the results of what happened to me was I would sleepwalk a lot. My parents always said that they will always find me in the middle of the night somewhere in the house, like in the hallway or whatever the case was, in the dark, and just in my own little world, even when it was pitch dark. And they always wondered about that, how I would be up, and then during the day I would always like was tired. So it's a lot of weird things, but I think it has something to do with me ending up in the hospital. But let's continue.
Sleep, I was scared to go inside my bed, fighting demons. I was hearing things inside my head. So back to the doctor, he didn't have a diagnosis. So my whole damn life I felt lost while fighting psychosis. Talking to myself, hoping nobody would notice. Mom said pray every time I heard the voices. Life or death every day, I swear I made choices. Life in my hand, trying not to lose focus. Playing basketball religiously to drown out the noise. Man, let me explain.
Yeah, that wow, these words are deep. There's one thing, I grew up in a family that was very religious, regardless of the circumstances. I mean, everybody, nobody has a perfect family, but that was one thing that we always try to tell each other, you got to pray about it, regardless of what times we're going through, regardless of how we're feeling, try not to shut yourselves out. And a lot of people will say, well, that's just, you're being too nosy, being in your kid's business or your cousin's business or your aunt's, but it was coming from a very big family. It was like we were all our own how can I say therapist, our own group, think tanks and stuff. When you got a family that's 40, 50, 60 deep, there's all kinds of emotions, and we had to pay attention to each other. And many times none of us really had an out, so we had to stick with each other no matter what. We couldn't just go off. It wasn't like we lived in a single child household. We lived in a very big household, and this goes with my aunts and my uncles, same thing, all the cousins. We always try to look out for each other, because it wasn't always easy to make friends out on the street, that especially people that didn't understand what we were going through. So, but let's continue.
That it's like laying on train tracks, grabbing guns, contemplating blowing your brain back. Eyes closed shut, watching everything fade black. People stepping over you, you feel like a placemat. Fuck, and let me make it clear, God is the only one that I've ever feared. But you start to get paranoid and look over your shoulder when these people have been hurting you for so many years. So I had to escape. If you listening, I know that you relate.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing right there. Even though like the family I grew up in, all the males in the family, they taught us to we got to hold our ground no matter what, and regardless of what we did, we were always, like I said, told, we got to have the fear of God in us. But at the same time, there are times where you're scared, and not scared in the sense like you're paranoid, you can't go outside, but you have to be aware, especially being born and raised in the Bronx. There was always something going on. So you had to walk like you belong no matter what, because a lot of times you was going to walk alone, so you had to make sure that, if you was going to fear anybody, you fear God, and you were supposed to fear your parents too, and it's something that a lot of people think it's like, oh, let me just go about my business all nonchalant, and it's like, no, it's not like that. You have no idea what a lot of people deal with, and most of it starts in the head. And a lot of people don't understand that. They just don't understand those feelings. They don't understand what it is to be out there and just deal with everything without them really knowing what's going on in your head. But let's continue.
Is that feeling that you get like your life and existence was all just one big mistake? I felt trapped and I couldn't find space. I went and got lost in the things I create. Ever since I was a kid, people hated and they judged everything that I did. So I went into my mind and created the abyss. Man, I swear I did.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of the things a lot of us had to do also. And I come, believe it or not, a lot of people in my family are very talented, and in many different walks of life also. And if things weren't going right, I mean, some of us had to do things our way, because people just didn't understand. And it was a different time back then. Schools were different. Growing up in the streets was different. So there was a lot of things that a lot of people would rank on you on, because they just didn't understand what was going on in your head. But then you just had to be like, okay, you know what? Well, I'm gonna put this into perspective. Excuse me. you know, because a lot of people can't put you down. So it's, it's like you gotta bottle it in, and then when you're ready to let it out, just let you got to show the people, and not everybody's gonna like it. If you're gonna wind up being successful in a certain way, but it's not all about them. It's about you, and you'd be surprised how many talented people have to deal with a lot in society, and they can't let out their talent. But that's because I think fear takes over. So many times you just have to be like, you know what, just the hell with it. I'm doing this, and this is the way it's going to be, because this is about me, not about you. But let's continue.
How the hell y'all think I make all these hits? It's cause I've been broken, beaten, dragged, laughed at, scorned, burned, and kicked. So I get to reach in this endless pit of hurt and pain from all that shit. And that's the only reason that you people come here. Oh, for God's sake, even though that Dax exists. This is how it feels to drown. This is how it looks when you lost and you can't be found.
Yeah, that's just, wow, that makes so, it makes so much sense. To go through so much in life and always feel down, but as you get older, it's almost as if whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's honing your character, your skills, your train of thought, your faith, what you believe in and stuff like that, and basically, in my opinion, your character. What kind of a person will it make you? It's either going to make you something really good, something big, or it's just going to break you and eat you up. And society and people, especially family and friends, if you don't have the right support group, they can be a big part of your demise. I hate to say it that way, but a lot of people, I believe, can agree to that. Never mind society, but if you can't walk in the door to your house and have some security, that building up with everything else you have to deal with in your head and outside in society, if it doesn't make you stronger, make you a better person, it can really consume you. And that's why a lot of people, they end up hurting themselves really bad or hurting others. And it's sad. And I mean, you hear about so many talented people that just went the wrong way. And it always, baffled my mind. But at the same time, you gotta think and be like, well, why exactly, even though they had all this fame and all this talent, why did they end up doing this instead? And it's because you really don't know what's going on in their head. You know what I'm saying? Like what they've been through. But let's continue.
This was a place I visit, but I went so much that I'm gone and I'm stuck here now. This is not music. This is not dope. This is me begging y'all to throw me a rope so I can try to climb at the place where I came in my life when I spiraled and first lost hope. Let me explain. I've been Dax so long, I get PTSD when somebody says my real name. But I guess that's the price you pay. I didn't want it to be like this, but I guess it is what it is. Inside the abyss.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. It's sad, but it's deep. For him to come out and say, he's been Dax for so long, to hear his real name, it messes with him, and it just makes me wonder, like, what he's been through, and at what point did he say, you know what? And he doesn't look like he's that old. I mean, I don't know his age exactly, but he can't be more than, I'd say 30, 31 years old. So, he's been singing for how long now? Let's say since he was in his, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, maybe 18 when he first, started getting big. I don't know. I'm just, if anybody knows, let me know. But, to go and cut yourself off instead of growing up gradually and building up to something, you had to shut yourself out and find a different way, to express yourself, to release the pain, or be able to cope and hold on to the pain and hold it inside, bottle it inside. And that's one of the worst things, because when you hold it inside, are you really being the person that you truly feel you are? Okay? Or are you pretending to be, like a clone, or whatever the case is, something other than what you think you should have been? But I mean, all that fame and fortune, I mean, it doesn't help. I'm not saying that he's not happy, of his life, of what he's doing, but I can only imagine how he feels inside, especially when he wrote this song. It's like, does anybody really know who he is, or are they just clinging to him because of his music and all that, thinking that that's truly who he is? You know, when he's obviously so much more than that. But I mean, that's what I got. Leave me comments in my comment section. Let me know if I'm on the right track or not. You know, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Give it a thumbs up, pass it around. If you can help support the channel, I'll leave a link in my description to my Cash App and PayPal. But once again, this was The Abyss by Dax, recommended to me by one of my new subs. Thank you so much. And remember, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.